In a world of endless streaming choices and fragmented media, one institution remains a global powerhouse. From its humble origins in a single London room to its status as the world's oldest national broadcaster, the British Broadcasting Corporation, the BBC, is more than just a media company. It is a cornerstone of global journalism, a pioneer of technological advancement, and a cultural exporter that has shaped the modern world. But how did a tiny experimental radio company become a multi-billion-pound global powerhouse? Today, we are exploring the history of the BBC, its mandate, its evolution, and its enduring influence on how we perceive the truth. The year was 1922. The wireless was a revolutionary, yet chaotic, new technology. In Britain, a group of radio manufacturers gathered to form a unified organization to prevent the chaos of competing signals. On October 18, 1922, the British Broadcasting Company was born. Its first general manager, John Reith, was a man of stern principles. Reith believed that broadcasting should not just entertain, it existed to inform, educate, and entertain, in that specific order. He steered the company away from commercialism, establishing the unique license fee model. By taxing the people who owned receivers, the BBC could remain independent of advertisers and, theoretically, independent of the government. In 1927, the company became the corporation, receiving a royal charter that cemented its role as a public service entity. Reith's vision of impartial, high-quality public service broadcasting became the blueprint for public media agencies worldwide, including America's PBS and Australia's ABC. The 1930s saw the birth of the world's first regular high-definition television service from Alexandra Palace. But the outbreak of World War II in 1939 changed everything. While British commercial newspapers often leaned toward political bias, the BBC became the voice of truth for millions. During the Blitz, the BBC's signal was a lifeline. Its overseas broadcasts, particularly the BBC World Service, became iconic. Even in occupied territories, people risked their lives to listen to the BBC's coded messages and unbiased war reports. This era cemented the BBC's reputation for integrity. When the government tried to exert control, the BBC fought to maintain its editorial independence. This tension between the state that funds the BBC and the corporation that must hold that state to account would define the BBC's DNA for the next century. Post-war Britain was a period of cultural explosion, and the BBC was at the epicenter. In 1953, the BBC's broadcast of the coronation of Queen Elizabeth II was a watershed moment. Millions of people bought their first television sets just to watch it. Suddenly, TV was the center of the British living room. In the 60s and 70s, the BBC became a massive cultural engine. Shows like Doctor Who transformed sci-fi, while the BBC began commissioning groundbreaking documentaries. The Natural History Unit, led by pioneers like David Attenborough, set the gold standard for global wildlife filmmaking. The BBC also navigated the arrival of commercial competition. With the launch of ITV in 1955 and later satellite television, the BBC had to adapt. They proved they weren't just a stuffy state institution, they were trendsetters. They launched Radio 1 to capture the youth culture of the pop era and invested in high-budget dramas that would eventually set the pace for the global golden age of television. As we enter the 21st century, the BBC faces its greatest existential threat yet. In the age of YouTube, Netflix and TikTok, the concept of a license fee-funded broadcaster is under constant scrutiny. Critics argue that in a world of unlimited choice, the compulsory fee is an archaic burden on taxpayers. Furthermore, the BBC finds itself in a precarious political position. In an era of intense political polarization, the BBC is frequently accused of bias, simultaneously being attacked by the right for being too liberal and by the left for being too establishment. Technologically, the BBC has pivoted brilliantly with the iPlayer, which pioneered the concept of catch-up TV. But keeping up with global streaming giants with bottomless pockets remains a David versus Goliath battle. Despite these challenges, the BBC remains one of the world's most trusted sources of news, often acting as the fact-checker of the internet age. The history of the BBC is a history of the 20th and 21st centuries. It has survived wars, technological upheavals, and political storms. Its model, public service broadcasting, is not perfect, but it provides something the commercial market often ignores: a commitment to education, niche interests, and verified information. Whether you rely on it for your morning news, your science documentaries, or your weekend entertainment, the BBC remains a vital pillar of global civil society. As media consumption continues to evolve, the BBC's challenge is no longer just capturing an audience, but maintaining its relevance in a post-truth world. For over 100 years, they have been the standard. Now, they must prove they can be the future. What do you think of the BBC? Is the license fee still relevant, or is it time for a new model? Let us know in the comments below. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more deep dives into the history of the institutions that shape our world. Thanks for watching.